Welcome back to another edition of the Spring Branch Sports Line. I'm Greg Dowell Jr. Today, joining us for an interview is alumni of Stratford High School, Alonso Acosta. Alonso's been away for a while, playing with the Belhaven Blazers in the recently moved up NCAA Division III team. He was also All-American for them his freshman year. We're going to talk about that and lots more. But first, Alonso, you're a collegiate kicker. In high school, you were a kicker. You started kicking in middle school and even before that. Just tell us, what was it that brought you to kicking and how did you start kicking?
I guess that traces back to when I was younger, growing up in Acres Homes. Me and my friends would just go out playing football in the streets, and we'd just be playing catch and whatnot. And I'd always be the one, punting the ball, kicking the ball. I never thought anything of it, but, a few days I'd go out and set a football up in the cracks, of the ground, and use a bottle cap, and I set the ball up, and I just run back, take a few steps, and kick it. And ever since then, I fell in love with it, I guess.
Alonso, that's amazing. You started kicking by setting a bottle cap in the crack of the ground and the ball on top, and that's just how you got started. That's very respectable. But what was the next steps for you?
After that, my family and I moved to the Memorial area, and I happened to go to Memorial Middle School, and that's where that's where all the sports happened for me. That's where I started organized football. This is when I started playing football, basketball. I ran track. I played soccer. That's really where my love for passion really came out. Then from there, I went out to Stratford.
Well, let's give a shout out to those coaches from Memorial Middle School also.
Coach Crawford, Coach Brewer, Coach Thornton. And without those guys there, honestly, without those three men, I wouldn't be the athlete that I am today, because they really are the guys that started. They started it off for me. Instilling the athletic mindset and pushing me to the limits at times. They coached a lot of sports, and they were there to see what I did and the things that I achieved. But they really did help me along the way.
And moving forward, you came over to Stratford High School. And full disclosure for our listeners, I worked at Stratford for quite a few years and was a part of your freshman and sophomore year campaign. So I got to see that transition from middle school to high school and even got to witness it in the collegiate level for a few games. But with that being said, you came over to Stratford. What was it like, first of all, coming to the school with a success like Stratford, a school that just had Andrew Luck and all the accomplishments he's had in the NFL and collegiate realm? What was that like, just going to an environment like that, an environment of athletic success?
Just being there. The first day of football camp, meeting you and the other coaches, Coach Allen, Coach Levine, Coach Perkins, Coach Lowry. There's great people there. Ever since the first day at camp, they really taught us how to be men and how to be student athletes. Not just an athlete, but a student athlete at that. And it really is a difference when you think about it and you learn the difference between the athlete and the student athlete. But it's great being at a school like Stratford. It was great being at a school like Stratford. The competitiveness, the nature of the school, and the passion for sports that everybody has.
One of the greatest things that you had is you actually had a kicking coach that worked with you for a while from Stratford High School. One of my best people I've ever worked with, Coach Chris Matthews, who we tragically lost a couple of years ago. Just tell us some thoughts and memories of working with Coach Chris Matthews.
Well, when I first met him, my freshman year, he was kind of a rough head. He was just one of those guys that I was afraid of, but eventually, you learn to love him once you get to know him. My sophomore year, which is when he passed, that's when I was a fullback with him, along with being a kicker and a punter. And he was the fullback coach, and he was also the kicking and punting coach. So
sophomore team coach.
Yeah, I saw him quite a bit. And we went through a lot of ups and downs throughout the season. I was yelled at, and I was praised sometimes. But one day before his passing, we had a meeting, and he told me I did, just a recap on the season. He told me I did good throughout the season, and then he got into kicking, and he said, with kicking, I really do believe you have the potential to play at the collegiate level. And at that second, when he told me that, before that, I never really thought of playing in college. But the second that he told me that, it really sparked something in my heart and in my mind, and it really drove me. But it really kicked in after he passed away. That's when my mindset was, do it for him. Do it because he said I could do it, and because he also believed in me. So, I've always had him till this day, in my heart, in my mind, when it comes to practice and kicking. But he surely has played a big role in all of my football career.
Well, I tell you, I know he's proud of your accomplishments, as each and every person that listens to our broadcast is. You accomplished a lot, but let's get into that senior year, your final year at Stratford. Any accomplishments, any accolades that you received?
My junior year, actually, I was, I believe I earned honorable mention kicker, and it was hard. That was my first year on varsity. Transitioning from sophomore team to the varsity team, being a kicker, I was just super nervous. I was shaky, and so transitioning from junior year to senior year, I was determined to be the best in the district. And luckily enough, I was blessed to be first team all district kicker, and I believe we were 4A then. So that's what I achieved then, and also throughout the camps with Cole's kicking. I was ranked in the top 100 kickers in ESPN. And
you have an article written about you. You can type you up ESPN Alonso Acosta, and they can read that article about you from that summer camp.
Mm-hmm.
Alonso, you put a lot of work in that summer. You went to UTSA, Baylor. You even made a trip out to Ruston to visit Louisiana Tech. For the listeners that are hearing you now, what would you tell them on their search and the recruitment process as they're trying to obtain or even compete to get a college scholarship as you did? Sorry about that. Tell the listeners who are enjoying this broadcast, Alonso, some words of advice if they're in the search of trying to get recruited, trying to find a home for their football skills. What would you recommend, or what is something you tell those folks?
I'd say the biggest thing is believing in yourself. You've got to have confidence. You got to believe in yourself and know that no matter how hard, what happens, good or bad, you just have to believe in yourself and know that if you work hard for something, you will get it, or if it's not exactly what you want, you'll get in that area. I was always shooting for a Division I school. My dream was to always be, on TV, but I ended up in a Division III school. I'm not on ESPN, but I am playing collegiate football. Therefore, I am thankful, and looking back, I kept myself driven, and I was determined to play at the next level, which I did, and I am doing. So I'm very thankful for that. As far as going to football camps, you've got to always take something from every camp that you go to, because some camps will tell you this, some camps will tell you that, but in the end, you've got to learn from all of your experiences and eventually gather them all together and put it into one whole piece, which is what's going to mold you into the athlete that you are.
Well, that being said, I can't wait till you're done with school and come back to the Spring Branch community and start your own kicking camps and so on, but that's something at a later date that we could talk about. Alonso, let's move on to Belhaven and the Blazers. You've had a coach change. Hal Mummy came in with his air raid offense. Your freshman year, you had a coach. He had success, and he moved on. You were also an All-American as a freshman, so you were recognized by your peers and by the writers in that area. You can find out more about that at www.yourbranchnews.com. Search Alonso Acosta to find that story there. But with that being said, Alonso, let's move forward to this year. You had a great junior campaign. You even got third place, I think, on the records for one of those things. You can go to yourbranchnews.com to find that story also. But just give everybody an update on you right now, Alonso.
Right now, I'm currently injured. We went through a 2-9 season. We've had a bunch of ups and downs, but all in all, we came together towards the end of the season, and there's definitely potential for greatness and for growth in the program. But last game of the season, I unfortunately got injured. I hurt my right knee. So I'm working on rehab right now to hopefully, God willing, I'll be able to play next season. If not that season, then I'll be able to medically redshirt one season and play a fifth year. But time will tell, and I'll be working hard for it.
Well, with that being said, Alonso, we want to wish you a speedy recovery. Prayers for you and your family. Shout out to your hard-working mom, all the things she does for you to make sure that you can stay fed. Looks like you put on a little weight around that shirt, but we won't talk about that. Alonso, you're injured right now, but you're fighting hard to get back. We wish you the best of luck with your rehab. Anything else you'd like to say to the listeners of the Spring Branch Sports Line? You're alumni of Spring Branch. You went to Memorial Middle School, went to Stratford High School, and now you're in college. There's folks out there right now that are going to listen to this broadcast and are going to want to know what it is they can do to be like you, or to have the opportunities that you've had. What is it that you'd recommend or tell them?
I would just say Spring Branch, SBISD is a place to be. It's a great community, great schools. Everybody cares about you, and if you're an athlete, don't shoot yourself short. Dream big, work hard every day.
Dream big, work hard. Those are the words for Alonso Acosta, current junior at Belhaven University. Folks, you can find out more about Alonso Acosta by visiting yourbranchnews.com. That's yourbranchnews.com. Search Alonso Acosta, or even go to Google and search him. You can find his stats and highlights there. I was proud to bring you this interview with Alonso Acosta of the Belhaven Blazers. We wish him the best in his speedy recovery to get back to next year and to finish out his season as a senior. With that being said, I'm Greg Dow Jr. for the Spring Branch Sports Line. Thank you for joining us once again for this broadcast. Bye-bye.